everyone, and welcome to the Eternal X Wolfpack Paranormal Podcast. I am your host, Sean Ellis, and I would like to make an announcement here again. I would like to thank Joshua Robert Moore for the intro song for the Eternal X Wolfpack Paranormal Podcast, and it's the Portals to the Paradox. And he did an amazing job. Definitely go check out Joshua Robert Moore and on his website, Earth Core Audio. Also, I have changed my profile picture on my personal page. It does look like this, even though I do kind of look like a little grump, but hey, it's pretty cool. Shane McLean made this for me, and it turned out really cool. So I have changed my personal page as well. Also, backstage, we have an amazing guest tonight. He is actually the cousin to Ed and Lorraine Warren, and he has his own podcast, Beyond Life Paranormal Podcast, Beyond Life Paranormal Research, and Beyond Life Paranormal Research LLC. And tonight, Russell Rynolds is with us. Hello, Russell.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Hey, no problem. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has. October last year.
Yeah, I mean, when I first met you was at the Rock Island Roadhouse.
Yep.
For sure. Hello. And I said, yeah, we'll get you on, but I was pretty much booked up the whole year when I was talking to you. So, and I got to talking to Nikki. I was like, we got to get Russell on here. So we got you on here tonight. That's for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
So let's start off with this. Cousins to Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Yep. Our line goes all the way back to my cousin Dawn Baynard. She is related through the Zaffis side, the Reynolds side. Our Reynolds side dates all the way back to the 1700s, the Briggs family, that ties into Ed Warren's side.
Oh, that's cool.
It goes way back in there through my fourth great grandfather, Caleb Reynolds, out of Rhode Island. Is tied into that line of the Miney side. And then we did some genealogy, and I found my cousin Dawn Baynard out of Florida, who's been working my genealogy because I'm so busy to even sit and mess around with that. So she made the ties into the Warrens and the Zaffis side of it, which is John Zaffis' mom, which is Ed's sister. They were twins. And then we're also related to Lizzie Borden. That's another tie into the Warrens and the Zaffis side too as well, and also keeping Carl Johnson.
Wow. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Did you ever get a chance to meet Ed and Lorraine?
I didn't. I found out later in life that I was related to him. I think I found out in like 2000, I want to say like 2020 is when I ended up finding my cousin Dawn, and then found out I was related to the Warrens. So I never did get to meet them. I would have loved to meet them because I studied Ed and Lorraine stuff since I was a kid.
Yeah, they've had some very interesting investigations throughout their lifetime, and man, I mean, it's just amazing on some of the things they've done.
Yeah, they've done a lot. They're the pioneers. They're the legends of this field. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing today. They paved the way for us.
They definitely did put a big jump into it back then. I think it was in the late 60s and throughout the 70s, wasn't it?
It's their group started in 1952.
Wow.
And before that, Ed was just doing paintings and stuff like that. He would park on the side of the road, paint somebody's house, and then he would send Lorraine to the door and say, hey, my husband painted your house. He had a lovely home, and they would let him in. And then with Lorraine being clairvoyant, she would pick up on stuff about the hauntings going on in their house. And that's how they investigated. But they never made any money off of it. They only made money off of Ed's paintings. Ed really never wanted to be a paranormal investigator. He wanted to be an artist and teach art. That's what the Warrens Occult Museum was originally supposed to be, like an art studio.
Didn't get into the art?
What's that? You were breaking up a little bit.
I said, didn't Ed's son, Ed and Lorraine's son, didn't he get into an art program or in college?
Uh, they they had a daughter, Judy. They have their son-in-law, Tony. Tony's a retired police officer.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. I know some of the movies portray some things a little different, but
Yeah, that's Hollywood for you. Even
yeah.
even Tony puts out there, do not believe some of the stuff in the movies. That a lot of it Hollywood that made that stuff up. I mean, like the Conjuring Last Rites movie with the Conjuring mirror.
Hmm.
Conjuring mirror had nothing to do with the Smurl case. That was a whole separate case altogether.
Well, I know Hollywood hypes up a lot of stuff and it gets people freaked out. And it's like, oh, this happens, oh, that happens. And then oh, a demon's this and oh, a demon's that. And, demons are less than 1%. They're hard to find.
They're rare. They're there, but they're rare. I mean, on occasion you'll run into one, but you're not going to run into one every time you go out.
Oh, most definitely. Hello, Blaine Rohan from All Access Network Television. He's on here. We also have Jeanette Bowman. She's here. Thanks for stopping in, guys. And we got Alonzo Ramirez. I think that's how you pronounce it. Hello. Thanks for stopping in. How did you get started in the paranormal field, Russell?
My journey started at a young age of 6 years old. I lived in a house that was haunted, and strange things would go on in this house at night. I mean, things would be moved. My dad wake up freezing, thermostat be turned down. He thought us kids were playing with it, but I was only 6. My sister was 4, so we weren't even tall enough to even reach the thermostat yet.
Right.
And one night I heard a noise, and it was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I woke up. Hey, Jimmy.
Hello, Jimmy.
And I look in my doorway, and here's a full-bodied apparition of a Civil War soldier standing there looking at me. And I got scared, and I put the blanket over my head, and like, it's not real, it'll go away. And got the courage to look out again, and it was gone. But water would turn on in the middle of the night. You hear the toilet flush. The dog would sit there and dig at the wall all hours of the day and night and growl and bark and carry on. And my parents were renting this house with the option to buy, and my dad was going to rip that wall open, but he didn't. And then the attic had been sealed up. He was going to open that, but he decided not to because he didn't want to get in trouble for damages.
Right.
And so he never did. One morning we woke up, weekend, none of us kids were home, and the car outside was started. No keys in the ignition. This was long before auto start, so that'll say how I am. And we went out there. My dad's trying to figure out, why is this car running? And then I can remember we went to my grandparents' house for dinner on a holiday. My dad had to work that day, so he come home, take a quick shower, and then he was going to head out to my grandparents. But he called up my grandparents' house, called out my mom, and asked my mom, "Hey, did you leave the water running upstairs in the bathtub?" Mom says, "No." I gave the kids a bath. I shut it off. The tub was drained. Everything was good. And he come home to find the bathroom upstairs was flooded.
Oh, wow.
There was a lamp sitting on the floor turned on.
That's not cool.
So I hopped in the truck with my grandfather, went back to the house. My mom stayed with my grandmother and my sister. And sure enough, the whole bathroom was flooded. My dad would see my mom's stuff be moved around the shelves, and we finally ended up moving out of there. My mom couldn't take it anymore.
Oh,
And moved out. Another group moved in there. They were only there for about a month. Left the place shambles. They left all their furniture. They just gone. And then it sat empty for quite a few years. And then when I hit 13 is when I started investigating the paranormal. And found out a couple from New York City had bought this house, and they remodeled it, and they ripped open that wall, and they opened up the attic, and they found Civil War bayonets, money, guns, mats, uniforms.
Wow.
And so I started doing some history research and to find out it was a Civil War base and hospital.
Well, that would explain that. And then it would explain the apparition you've seen as well.
Yep.
Hello, Nathan Elwell from All Access Network Television as well. You got a question here from Jeanette Bowman. Have you ever been physically hurt by an entity?
Oh yeah, I've been scratched by an entity before. Actually, a demonic entity. I actually still have the scars right here, and it was like 3 razor blades. It was a case we were working down in Oklahoma. The guy was doing some demonic worshiping in his home, and his mom had called us in because he had a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 19-year-old in this house. He was worshiping the demonic, calling them forward, and he conjured up something demonic in the house. So we went there and started investigating. The rest of my team couldn't make it because it was short notice and emergency. So my dad and I went, and I was investigating solo, but I would stay in camera view the whole time so my dad could watch me on camera because we worked together long enough. He knows if something is going wrong, he needs to come in and get me out of there. And then, so about 1 o'clock in the morning, we stopped to take a break, sitting there just watching the cameras, letting them do their thing. The hallway camera was just sitting there pulsating. I figured just static camera malfunction, maybe it'll clear up. And it started getting worse.
Hmm.
And then
Hello, Susan Victoria.
this big black figure appeared in the camera, and I said to my dad, I said, keep an eye on it. I'm gonna go check that out. And I go back there, and you could feel the immense pressure. It felt like the weight was dragging you down, and this thing stood probably over 6 feet tall, black figure. It come running at me, dropped down to all fours, disappeared at my legs, and I'm holding on to my St. Benedict medal, and I end up with 3 scratches right here that were like razor blades that almost needed stitches.
Wow. I have to say, I haven't really ever been scratched or hurt by anything yet so far, knock on wood. I've had some crazy encounters and some really bizarre things I've seen.
Right?
So that gets sprayed up in there. Now, your dad, I met him at the Rock Island Roadhouse as well. And you were talking about the first house that you guys lived in. And he's kind of an empath, right?
Yeah, he's got abilities from he had an NDE back in the 70s before I was born, and he was in a GMC sports car on his way to work, and a drunk driver had blown through the red light as they were making the turn and totaled this car out. The engine was in his lap,
Oh, wow.
and the only thing to save him from getting ejected was an iron rock brick that stuck him in the back of the head, and he died at the scene. They brought him back. He was on his way to the hospital. He passed again. They brought him back, got him to the hospital, and then he passed again. And that time they were having a hard time reviving him. He finally woke up to 3 nuns reading his last rites.
Oh, wow.
So he's dealt with them abilities, but I never knew it as a kid that he had them, and he was seeing stuff, and he had to see psychologists for it. And when I got into my paranormal career, I also had an NDE at the age of 12. I had a seizure brought on by the flu. I was running a severe fever, and I passed out on the floor, seized, and woke up to my mom giving me CPR with a rag on my chin because I split my chin wide open.
Mm-hmm.
And so him and I both had the abilities, and once I got established in 2006, he didn't go with me then until we moved here in 2012. I said to him, Dad, you got the abilities. Why don't we put them to use?
Mm-hmm.
Your abilities can help a lot of people. And so he's been with me ever since, going out and helping people doing investigations. He does our client interviews because he can read people and he knows when our clients are lying to us or they're hiding something.
Hmm.
So that's why I let him do the interviews, and I focus more on getting my baseline readings and paperwork side of it.
Yeah. Hello, Raven Wolf. She's also from All Access Network Television. She's in the house as well. And yeah, when I was doing energy work there with your dad there at the Rock Island Roadhouse, I can definitely tell he could pick up on a lot of things, and he could pick up on me, and I could pick up on him.
Yep.
And we were sitting there kind of joking about certain things that how do I say it? Can't bullshit a bullshitter.
Yep. Yep.
He seemed to enjoy that day when we were all sitting there talking. But you said that you passed away as well, right?
Yep. I passed away at 12.
And what did you experience during that time? Well, when that happened?
I felt like I had to vomit, so I was headed towards the bathroom. And I got up, and the next thing I know, all I remember is waking up on the floor. And I know I landed face down. That's the only thing I remember is going face forward, and then I was out. I was gone, and all I remember waking up, I could see like it was all black when I crossed over, and I could just see a little ball of light, but I wasn't gone for as long as like my dad was. I was gone for a few minutes, and my mom was able to get me back and back conscious again. But when I did, I was laying on my back with a piece of towel on my chin
Mm-hmm.
with pressure on it, and they told me later on that my mom had to give me CPR, that I had passed away. I stopped breathing, my heart stopped.
You didn't see any of the light that some people see, or any.
I only saw like a little ball of it, like the tunnel opening up type of thing, but everything else was dark.
Mm.
I could just see that one little light up above me.
I know you said tonight your dad was going to be on here with you, and I know he's not feeling well, and I hope he gets better soon. In his experience, has he ever talked about seeing things?
Oh yeah, he saw himself floating over his body, and he saw the light. He told me he was halfway up there when he got
Wow,
brought back in the hospital.
man. I mean, I know everybody has different experiences when it comes down to things like that, and some people see the bright light, some people see family members, some people see the dark shadows, depending on what's going on at the time. And it's always interesting to listen to some of these stories
Yeah.
and, kind of put things together in perspective of how people do see it when that time does come.
And they say the last thing to go on you is your brain and your hearing.
Mm-hmm.
And
I have heard that.
especially with me having a seizure, that affects all your brain waves.
So your abilities, I know you've got some empath abilities because we were doing and also some energy work we were doing there as well. When did that come about for you?
That started about shortly after I had passed away. I hid it all through school. I could be in school and I'd see a little kid, and I'd flip over. My friend used to be
50.
staring off at nothing, and they'd be like looking at me, and then I tried. For the most part, I hid it, tried to be just like a normal kid because
Hmm.
I didn't want to be known as a kid. So I did a good job of hiding it, and then when I started investigating the paranormal at 13, I used it a little bit, and then I started getting some. As I got older, I wanted to use it more for helping people. So my good friend Esther, she worked with me on my abilities because she's also a medium, and she coached me along and taught me how to use them and trained me on it and taught me how to shut it off if I need to. And now that I'm seasoned, that I've been doing this over 30 years now, I'm really in tune to everything now that I can see, feel
Right.
spirits, and I can actually describe a person.
Did it freak you out when everything started to happen?
Yeah, a little bit because I started feeling emotions of people. I'm like, why am I feeling emotions of people? I could go to like a funeral and I could feel everybody in the room, and I can't stay in there. I'd have to get out because it's too overwhelming. Or if we
Hmm.
go up to the cemetery, like to visit my great grandparents' graves and stuff, when I went with my grandparents, I was hearing all this in my ears, all this chattering, and I'm like, what is going on?
Right.
And then finally come to terms when I worked with Esther, and she says, you're going to have that now that you're a conduit. They're going to come to you to communicate because they know you can hear them, you can see them, you can feel them. So they're going to use you to get their message across.
Do you still get overwhelmed with large crowds?
Oh, yeah, I still do. I have a hard time being in large crowds. I have to back away a lot of
Hmm.
times and go outside. If I go to like a get together or something, I have to keep my distance because it's just too overwhelming. But I've
Hmm.
been starting to get a little better at that. I've been doing a little bit more meditation and trying to, I can kind of shut myself down a little bit so it's not too overwhelming anymore.
Right. I got to agree with Christy here. My solitude is everything. Yeah, I definitely agree with that,
I,
especially over the last 3 years. Right when I got my Menaki rights and I was going through the third phase of it, and it was dealing with the energy part,
mm,
as in the fact of feeling the energy around you and attaching to everything around you to be able to absorb it and stuff. Right after my mentor, she gave me those rights, the third right, and I was walking through Walmart, and I don't get anxiety. I don't get overwhelmed, but when I was walking through Walmart, it felt like energy was bouncing off everybody like a pinball machine
right,
until I finally figured out how to get it under control. And then the fifth phase was the grounding, which when I'm grounded now, which I'm always grounded, it doesn't phase me because now I can take that energy and I can absorb it and redirect it.
right,
And it does wonders. And it just makes me wonder when people get that anxiety, if it's not the empathy and the empath part of them that's just overwhelming because they're feeling that energy from everybody and nobody has told them how that works.
right.
For sure. Yeah, that's brutal. Yeah, I mean, I guess I've been blessed when, like I said, my Reiki master, she gave me those rights and it has helped out tremendously in being able to readjust energy when it's around. We got another question here from Jeanette Bowman. What is a place you'd want to investigate that you haven't done yet?
Trans Allegheny.
Yeah, that's on my list too. That's definitely on my list for sure. Christy says my head feels like it's in a vice. Yeah, I can understand that. When if you ever get a chance and you can get a Reiki master that understands the Menaki rights, have them give them to you. It does help out a lot, and it helps you ground that energy and retransfer it everywhere.
Yeah,
That's
that's even feeling like people's emotions and stuff like that. It gets crazy at times.
mhm. Yeah, because I was learning things after she gave them to me, and then I was talking to her, and she's like, "Oh wow, that now that makes sense,"
Right,
because I picked up something she didn't, and we started understanding what those rights were. And but technically, it's to ground you around everything, so that energy doesn't overwhelm you, or and etc. When you go out on investigations, because we have been in places the energy has been very high, and it's like you walk in, it's like, what the hell? And it's like, no.
Yep. And oh, cool. And she's coming to our event May 9th.
Cool. Yeah, my mentor, she's a Reiki master. She's awesome.
But
She's been.
we were doing an investigation at my cousin's old farmhouse. You can't get in the house. We were outside, setting cameras up all around. And we got done, and I stopped, and I was looking up in the window, and my cousin Brad comes over. He goes, "You see something up there?" I said, "Yeah, there's a woman standing there looking at it." I said, "She's not saying anything. She's just kind of looking out, just wondering what we're doing." And he took a picture. I said, "Take a picture up there." She shows up. She showed up in his picture. Ended up getting a picture of her, and it blew his, like, how do you do that? And I got talking to his son, my other cousin. He's like, "Yeah, when I used to stay at Grandma and Grandpa's house, this woman used to stand at the foot of my bed every night."
Hmm.
And
Wow.
his grandparents, they just up and left one day. They left all their belongings, didn't tell nothing to nobody, not even my cousin Brad. They just up and left.
Huh. I remember when my daughter was younger, she was probably about 5, my oldest one. And she said, "Dad, I keep seeing somebody at the foot of my bed." So one night she come in there and says, "Dad, there's somebody at the foot of my bed." And I said, "Well, just go sleep with your mom." And I slept in her room. And I happened to wake up and I look, and there's this green mist at the foot of her bed. And it looked like somebody standing there in a monk's robe with their head tilted down, just kind of looking.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. And I said, "If you happen to be my grandmother or or my wife's grandmother at the time, because the kids never ever met him," I said, "you're more than welcome to stay." And I said, "Quit scaring the kids." And it went away. But it was really strange. It was kind of green mist. And when I seen it there, I was looking through the windows to try to debunk it from a reflection coming off everything to make sure, hey, this is what I'm seeing. But it was definitely interesting at the time, because not only I seen it, my daughter at the time seen it as well.
Right.
And kids see things us adults have been told, "Oh, this don't exist," and now we're retraining our minds to see what supposedly wasn't real back then, right?
Right.
But I think there should be a class in paranormal psychology in high school when you go through it. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, there should be.
Hey, Blaine and Susan. By the way, Christy, I sent you a message in Messenger. When you get a chance, reply to it for me, will you? But yeah, what is one place that you've actually been to that actually made the hair stand up on the back of your neck?
Would be Waverly Hills Sanatorium.
What happened?
We were up there on the 4th floor, and our tour guide had told us that he had a group there, and they weren't experiencing nothing, so they went to the surgery room on the 4th floor, and he was doing an Estes laying on the surgery table, and his leg got lifted up. So we wanted to try to recreate that, see if we could bunk it, and see if maybe we could have our own experience. So I decided to lay on the table, and I had one of my members wheel me under the light. We were playing like I was sick. I was acting like I was coughing, and my member was yelling, "We need a doctor in here. We're going to lose them." And
Uh,
we had a motion light sitting in the doorway on the shelf. Motion light kicks on, and I hear a noise. I go to sit up, and I couldn't move. I was being pinned to the surgery table by something. I could feel the pressure here. My arms couldn't move. I couldn't move my legs.
hmm.
Then we hear two loud, blood-curdling female screams in the hallway, right outside the door. And my initial reaction was text that other team and see where they're at, because we knew they had females in their group. Thought maybe they got scared or something.
Right.
They were on the whole opposite end of the building, up on the 5th floor by 502 out on the roof, doing an Estes method. They were nowhere near us to even let out that blood-curdling scream.
Hmm.
That scream was enough. It raised the hair on the back of your neck. And they were both at the same time.
I definitely have a chance this summer to go to Waverly, and I'm going to end up doing it before the end of the year. And I'm definitely going to check out that because I've heard so many things about that place.
Yeah, that place was interesting. We got lucky that when we were there, we had thunderstorms. We were getting thunderstorms all that weekend that we were there. And the team that was there that invited us, they rented the place for 2 nights. We could only go Saturday. And they didn't get nothing the first night. The second night, when we were there, it was like everybody wanted to play all of a sudden. We were getting all kinds of activity. We got to see the creeper, Waverly Hills.
That's interesting.
He was crawling across the outer catwalk on the 4th floor where the sister's room is. He was down at the end. My one member, she smoked, so she went up to have a cigarette before we started. So I was milling around the atrium and with her boyfriend, and we got looking down, and I see this black figure crawling across the floor.
Hmm.
And I'm like, he saw it too, and looking at it, like, so that's got to be the creeper. I said, I'm gonna head towards it. So I started walking down the hallway as fast as I can towards it. That thing went up over the wall down to the other floor below.
Hmm.
And then on the way back, we had a figure walking down the 4th floor hallway, headed back. It's only investigating at 4 a.m. And we're just walking back, just talking, and this figure running directly at us. Solid white mass blows right in between us. I mean, you can feel a static guard and the cold air when it comes by us. We both look back, and the thing was gone.
Hmm.
The team had come in behind us. See a figure run down there or somebody run down there? They never saw it.
Wow.
And the body shoot is another one that gives you that eerie air kind of feeling, especially when you get to the bottom and you're hearing everything moving around on top.
Right.
That gate will move, even though that gate rusted open. It hasn't moved in years.
And finally finished what I
We
started with.
captured a black figure, black mass, filling up the whole body shoot. Each picture close.
That's crazy. Now, have you dealt with jinns before?
Not gins. They're more. Your gins are more like overseas and Greece and stuff like that. And Saudi Arabia, they deal with a lot of gins over there. But I've never dealt with one here. The years I've been investigating.
I've actually dealt with several jinns before, and I think they follow some of the soldiers back because,
Yeah, that's a good possibility.
especially some of the ones that I've dealt with, and I think they come back home with them and it's caused some chaos. They're definitely interesting because they're very stealthy for sure. And,
Yeah, I've studied them just in case if I ever do have to come across one, deal with one. I've read up on them and studied them, so I try to learn everything I can and do a lot of reading and studying on the demonic. Because I know you go out, sometimes you have to come across them and you have to deal with them. So I started learning that at a young age too, reading up on the demonic and reading Ed and Lorraine's books and stuff like that. And then when I met Rob Dermarest, we Ghost Hunters International, and him and I became good friends. We've been friends well over close to 30 years now. I would pick his brain on stuff. That's how I got started with Rob Dermerest. Taught me how to run a group and get a group started. That's when this group was formed in 2006. And the other branch formed in 2012. The other one stayed running until about 2016. And then we decided to shut it down because my friend Esther, who was running that group, had some medical issues. Couldn't run it anymore. And with me busy with this branch of it, I had a hard time trying to run both. So
Yeah. Christy says here, when I encountered a black mass, it was like I bumped into a real person. The block was there. I couldn't move. I was frozen in the red eyes. It had red eyes. I can't chew and had to walk around it. Such a bizarre feeling.
yeah, it is a bizarre feeling when you run into them, or you get thrown by one, which I've also been thrown into a door by one in a location. It was a house, somebody's private residence that we did. He was seeing this hoofed figure in her kitchen. And this thing, you could smell it. I mean, this thing stunk. It would come up from the basement, come into the bedroom, up under the bed, or it would come in through the closet. And then it would come up the stairs, basement stairs, and show itself in the kitchen. He was in the kitchen one night going to the refrigerator. And her refrigerator's here, the basement door is here. There's like a little wall there where the door frame is. Seen this hook peeking around it at her. So we come back up down the basement when we were investigating there. We were standing there investigating where she seen that figure. Next thing I know, I get slammed into a door because it was after one of my members. I was in its way. If I was standing near the stairs, it probably would have pushed me down the stairs, but I don't stand near stairs or anything like that. So
right. You want to stay safe.
Grounding.
Yeah, you want to stay on solid ground, especially when you're in a location you haven't been at before, too.
Yep.
I've only been thrown once, only because it was residual. I know one thing. We were talking about black masses, and you got to be careful around a black mass because I've experienced a black mass once. Well, yeah. And it was before my girlfriend passed away. And not a lot of people know this story, but I happened to be staying over her house one night, and I happened to wake up about 3:30ish. I happened to look up over the top of her shoulder. She was sound asleep, and looked down the hallway, and there's a black mass in her hallway. And when I was sitting there, I said, "You can't have her as long as I'm breathing." And it just sat there and looked at me. And the next morning I got up and we were talking and stuff, and I kept seeing this little black circle in a certain location on her body. And come to find out, that's where they found the mass that was wrapped around her intestines, is where I pointed it out.
Oh, wow.
And I was talking to a friend of mine here a few months back, and Susan Victoria, and when I was telling her about the story, that black mass showed what it was. And come to find out, it was me standing in the hallway. So sometimes these black masses could be somebody from the future or the past trying to warn you about something. And it happened to be me because it revealed its face to me after all the years after it happened. So black masses can be very interesting.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
For sure. Hey, my two favorite guys, what's up? Hello. Thanks for sharing out. I know Susan Victoria shared out as well. Thank you. And thank you to everybody else who has shared out as well. I appreciate it. Your doppelganger? I don't know if I would call it a doppelganger. I would say it was probably my future self coming back to warn me about something to try to stop it, maybe. But I don't know about a doppelganger, as in the fact of no problem. Oh well, I have one. Oh, but yeah, I mean, I know everybody's got a clone, or how do I say, somebody that looks like them. But when you get a black mass that comes back, and some of them has been known to be linked to time traveling as well. So it makes me wonder what part of me in the future has figured out certain things that I haven't quite figured out yet.
Right.
But you know it's coming. I have a doppelganger story and lots more to share.
I saw you had a question earlier. That
She had a question earlier.
I think it was Jeanette that had a question.
Hang on, let me see if I can go back and find it here. She's got one that says the Reiki Master. Oh, what places you wanted to investigate was the last one she asked, and you haven't done yet.
There's one after that.
Oh, right here. I found it. Have you ever encountered a demon called Zozo?
Oh yeah, I've dealt with him plenty of times. He's the demon that's associated with the Ouija boards.
Yeah, definitely so.
That comes out of the Ouija boards.
I've actually come across one called Beelzebub.
I've dealt with that one as well. I'm familiar with that one. Yep.
Yeah, and that had to deal with a 11 or a 12-year-old little boy we dealt with that had that attached to him, and it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, he's one of the stronger ones.
Why do they label some entities or specters a haunted location?
I'm not sure how to answer that one.
I don't either. For sure. To see black masses flying around other people who have been in my room and have seen them too. No idea what they are. Like I said, it could be family members or it could be you from your future. I mean, you got to kind of be careful with black masses because I remember seeing shadows all the time when I was growing up. And back then, I never really understood what they were. And I know when my daughters were growing up, they would always see shadows. And I know they're both very empathic and refuse to, how do I say, acknowledge their empathic ability. But I've seen them in several locations where we lived and seems to follow them around as well. I think Zozo is made up demon. It's a true story. We're going too fast here. Zozo, the Ouija demon. It can be. I've heard him being linked to the Ouija boards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've dealt with several cases involving Ouija boards with that demon himself.
I have Beelzebub in a ring. Well, I know where he's buried at. When I dealt with him, and he's got a bunch of salt around him too, and he's never coming back.
That's the best place for him.
Yep. Let's see. Like for instance, why black or why mist or the lady gray ghost and so forth. I don't know. Maybe it's because the energy they can channel at the time of how they present themselves.
That, and then whatever story someone's made up and planted the mind seed in somebody, like Slender Man. Slender Man's a story made up to scare kids, and now you focus your energy into Slender Man. Now he becomes real.
Yeah. And I mean, being able to channel negative energy could be something along of a black mass, maybe, possibly. We don't know.
Yeah.
Channeling higher energy could be something of a clearer mist or vibrant type color. Nobody's actually sure on how that works and how spirits channel certain things. So it's kind of up in the air.
That's what's interesting about the field, too, because it's something new we learn every time we go out. You always see something different. It's not the same every time you go out investigate something, you're learning something new, and how they're presenting themselves and why they're doing this and why they're doing that. My theory also with black shadow figures too, what if they were an actual living human being? What if they passed away in something all black
Mm-hmm.
and their spirit's coming back and they're dressed in black clothing?
Anything's possible.
So, I mean, the other black mask we seen, he didn't even bother us. We were at this hotel, and it was an abandoned place, and the owner let us investigate it. And the rest of my team wanted to go to a fancy hotel. My dad and I are like, "I'm not gonna waste the money on the hotel." She had this little storefront. She had a chair and a couch there. Like, we're gonna crash here. That way we can keep the cameras running all night. And we had a generator because there was no electricity. And about 3 o'clock in the morning, the generator runs out of gas. And I'm halfway dozing off. My dad, he's awake, and he yells to me. He says, "Hey, you awake?" I said, "Barely. What's going on?" He says, "Look in the doorway." And we look in the doorway, and here's this big black shadow figure, early looking figure standing there in the doorway just looking at us after the generator had kicked off. And the former owner of that place, he was 6'5", big old burly wrestler guy that owned the hotel, and we figured that was probably just him checking on his guests. He knew we had guests in the hotel, so the power went out. So he
Mm-hmm.
was probably checking on us to make sure we were okay. He saw we were all right, and he just disappeared.
Yeah. Jeanette Bowman said here, my mom and I seen one at a hotel in Kentucky. I woke up and a black cloud over me. When I seen it, it shot over my mom's bed. She didn't even open her eyes, swung at it with a pillow and said, "Get the F out of here." The pillow went through it and it went out the closed window. And Christy's sitting here. Demons don't always hide in the dark. Sometimes they're in plain sight. Yes, most definitely. I have darker guides that do stand out in the open, and they're not afraid to let you know they're there. So I do understand that terminology
That
completely.
is true.
Kathy Taylor, hello.
Hey, cousin Kathy.
Reality is manifestation. Yes, it is.
Yep.
Energy doesn't die and transforms. It transforms. That is correct. I've encountered white mist in my home and doppelgangers. Yeah, doppelgangers. Sometimes you can almost relate doppelgangers to tricksters or pranksters because they like to make, or even mimics, being able to make same voices. Because I've heard people talk about being in another room, nobody's in the house, and they've heard their son, daughter, mother, or husband holler at them, and then they all of a sudden go to the other room and there's nobody there.
Yep.
So do you think some of that might be from residual or even energy from the land that's causing that?
It could be, yeah. I believe it could be. I mean, a good example of that is the movie theater that we do here in Marshall, Missouri. The owner of it was experiencing stuff in her house, and she had laid down to take a nap, and she had put her granddaughter down for a nap, and her granddaughter woke up to somebody that looked like her grandmother going out the front door of the house, and grandma was still laying in bed. And then the grandmother woke up to something trying to climb into her mouth. And she's had the cops called to the house because this gray cloud was coming out of the roof of her house. They thought her house was on fire. And shortly after, she found this mask, ceremonial mask, only about this big, carved out of wood between her safe and the wall. And she gave it to me, which is now sitting in John Zaffis's museum. And so after that got out of there, everything stopped in her home. So whatever she was experiencing and the granddaughter seeing was tied into that mask that was used in the ceremonial practice.
Yeah. Kathy, yeah, we talked a little bit about that at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, we did her house. She's got 2 houses, that farmhouse I was telling you about, and we did her own personal house. Her house is like a revolving door for spirit activity, things that go in and out of there left and right. Kids, land itself is tainted with violence. Thanks, Amber. And so the place has been subject to the Mormon massacres. General Boggs was killed there on the land. Jesse James has been through there with his posse.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, my cousin Brad, her husband, his great grandparents used to hide Jesse and them out in the barn.
Right.
When they were headed back to Kearney, Missouri, to see Jesse and Frank's mom. And so that you'll be out there all hours of the night and hear gunfire and cannons, and like the war is just replaying over. Every time you mention the Latter-day Saints movement out there, you'll hear random gunfire.
Wow.
And it's just, I've done several cleansings on the house and to chase things out, but things always come right back because of the way the land is.
I've noticed sometimes when you cleanse a house and things just kind of keep coming back, it makes me wonder if it's actually sitting on a ley line or linked to a ley line, because if it is, it's just feeding off it.
Yep, and this place has had confirmed slaves that have been hung out there. It's got connections to the Klan out there as well. The whole town was a racist town. I mean, they had a sign out in the edge of town that told the black people to stay out of town or they were going to lynch them. They were caught in town, and they've had Native Americans out there. We've captured several Native American pictures and slave pictures, and a few psychics picked up on slaves out there that I've talked to that remote viewed.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it's just a hotbed of activity out there.
For sure. Bill Walter says, Sean has seen my doppelganger at Broadhead Manor. Yes, I have. First time I ever been at Broadhead Manor, Bill was giving us a tour of the place, of where to and where not to go right after he got it open. And I witnessed somebody, it looked like Bill, walk up the steps. So the dog followed right behind him, went to turn the corner on the right, and the dog followed him. So I went up the stairs and followed him too. I was like, why is everybody standing around? When I get up the top of the stairs, the dog's sitting there and all the doors are locked. Can't get in them. So, yeah. Nicole, do they allow visitors at his museum? Which museum are you talking about?
If you're talking about John's, he doesn't allow people in the museum because of zoning issues. It's not a zoned commercial property. Now, if you're talking about the Warrens Occult Museum, then yeah, you have to book the overnight at the Warrens' house to do that.
I've seen my cousin's doppelganger. Well, we brought up a pretty good topic. Everybody's chiming in here. I'm like, wow, you're back early, no response, so it's vanished quickly. That's not supposed to happen. Sage amps and activize. Says, okay, here we go. Do you guys think earthquakes can pick up ghostly activity? We get lots of them here in California. Oh, I'm sure they can. They've got energy.
Yeah, you got energy with that earth field moving with them tremors. So it's messing with your Earth's magnetic field. So
Most definitely. Most definitely. Hey, Christy, I can also remote view. Yeah, that's fun doing that. I can do that as well. That's not supposed to happen. Same. John Zaffis. It must be his museum.
yep. Yeah, he don't let anybody in there due to zoning.
Okay. Okay, bummer. Thanks. Demons don't hate religion. They hate God. They don't like religion. Well, I mean, demons and devils can go into the church. There's nothing that says they can't. So they can kind of do what they want.
That's why if you notice a lot of the exorcisms that have been done over the years have been done in churches. Now, a demon's right there in the church, and they're doing those exorcisms.
Right. So I think sage is good for cleansing only. Don't actually drive out demons. It's the exorcist's job to do that. Yeah. I don't use a lot of sage. I actually christen the ground and take away some of its energy. That seems to work quite a bit well. I can astral travel project as well. We will, brother. Let's see what else we got going here. I've learned in my demonology class, tongue tied, demonology class, God has demons on his leash, only can do what they're allowed to do. I don't know about that. Demons seem to kind of do what they want when they want. I know somebody that I actually did an interview with for the very first time, and he doesn't work with good spirits. He summons demons all the time. I'm not going to say his name, but he is very dark. And when me and him had that podcast, it's like that energy that is going back and forth like yin and yang. You know, you can feel that there's a difference among us, but yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, I know people that work a lot in the dark. Hey, Val.
It's not the house that's haunted; it's the land. Yeah, sometimes it is the land, especially if they rebuild a new house on it and something's happened there that's pretty tragic in the past, for sure.
Yep. And I mean, even the house itself, if it was a former owner of the house and he's sticking around, that's also why, because he doesn't realize he's dead. That's still his property. He's still claiming his space. And when you're moving into that house and you go in there and you start messing around, changing something, that's why he amps up, because it's like a burglar for you and I. If a burglar breaks into our house, what are we going to do? We're going to protect our space. We're going to protect our property, our family. We're going to get aggressive, and that's why they also get aggressive. They were a former owner. To them, it's still their house.
Yeah, much for sure. Jeanette's got a question here again. When an exorcism is done and a demon is expelled, what stops them from just non-stop going into someone else? They can't be destroyed, so they can confuse. So that confuses me. So how do you stop them permanently? You take away their energy for one. You drain it.
You have to drain them. And then you got to throw up your barriers of protection so it can't find you again.
Well, as long as you've got a high energy, they don't want to attach to you to begin with.
Now,
it's when your energy is so low is when they start jumping into person to person.
Yeah, they love anybody that has disabilities, that has past trauma, and stuff like that live in the negative aspect of it. That's what they love. They love people like that.
The ones that cry in their pity and manifest bad stuff all the time, that's where they want to go. But if you got high energy, they don't want nothing to do with you.
Yep.
Archangel Michael is Satan's twin. Yeah.
I'm kind of on the fence on that one because I study under Mr. Farah, the Roman. He's a Roman.
I mean, there's a lot of things that's going around. I mean, that still goes back to the Anakis and some of that as well. And that really, you can really dig into some of that. The house is a dwelling. I found out our house is over 40 years old and has some renovations done to it. Yeah, that will definitely trip off some things in there. Hi there, I'm back.
Hey, Gary, he's one of my followers.
No demons go where the exorcist tells them to go. Yeah, I don't really like I said, the most I've dealt with is Beelzebub himself, and I drained that energy from him and put him in a place where that one wouldn't cause any problems. And as soon as he's drained, and there's salt there, it's going to take him a while to get there, especially when the water and the rain and the salt gets to him. Humans are conduits. Yes, they are. Feed the vulnerable. Yes, they do. What we fear, we create. Yes, I can agree with that. The exorcist and the power of the right from God and demology can add in exorcism, I believe. Yeah, I guess it's on what you believe. I mean, everybody has their own religion on how they deal with it, because what may work for you may not work for somebody else. And it's just, passing knowledge back and forth from each other and sharing it to understand. So if it does come up, you can deal with it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's like people that use dragon's blood sage to fend off the demonic. If it works for you, it may not work for me. I mean, I use a lot more of the holy water, the blessed oil, blessed salt, Alicento, and stuff like that, and frankincense and myrrh.
Yeah.
But that works for me because I've used it for so long.
It says, how can an exorcism work if a demon doesn't want to leave? Well, you can just keep working at it. Eventually, you got to break them.
I mean, my one demonic case took 6 months to rid that place of it. So,
Yep, for sure. You definitely got to wear them down and break them. I've seen the devil too, and this is in his minions. They are not pretty. Yeah, I've seen some things myself for sure. Neither are angels. Dragon blood is Lilith's favorite scent. Depends. Lilith is one of my guides as well. I guess she kind of teaches certain people different things depending on what they need to know.
right.
For sure. Intent. Yes, definitely intent. It may take more than one exorcism. It's possible. Russell, when you're free, check your messages. I sent you a post on what we talked about earlier.
Okay.
All right. Well, Russell, it has been actually an hour, and it's flown. We got on this topic with shadows and everything else, and everybody just jumped aboard. And I appreciate all the comments you guys have thrown in here and chatting with us tonight. Empowers women, brother. Yes, I will say she does do the feminine side of things for sure. And like I said, Christy, definitely check your messenger, because I did send you a message to be able to come on the show, because I would like to talk to you on the show. Great show, guys. Thank you, Nicole. Russell, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Facebook at Beyond Life Paranormal Research Missouri, Cold Spotters, Missouri. You can also find my business page, Beyond Life Paranormal Research LLC, on Facebook. You can find me on YouTube at Beyond Life Paranormal Research. You can find me on TikTok, BLPRMO, and Beyond Life Paranormal Research on Instagram.
That's awesome. And I will definitely be seeing you at the Rock Island Roadhouse in October again, my friend.
I'll be there.
So I'll be looking forward to that as well. We've got a few other things here popping up here. Awesome show as always. Thank you, Christy. And I'm open for an interview perhaps in the future too. Yeah, send me a chat request, Nicole, and we'll definitely have you on the show as well. I do like some of your topics as well. We can get into digging on some of them as well. Russell knows me. All right. Like I said, this is Russell Rynolds, guys. Definitely go check out all of his pages. And if you get a chance when he comes to the Rock Island Roadhouse for the expo this year, definitely come in, check him out. And his dad, they're great to talk to. They will have merchandise there as well. And I do appreciate you coming on the show tonight there, Russ.
Thanks for having me.
All right. I'm going to drop you backstage, brother, and I'm going to close out the show.
All righty.
All right. Definitely go check out Russell Reynolds. Great guy. Got a lot of information, got a lot of things to talk about. Really cool. Next week, we have on the show Jessie Hawthorne. Definitely come in, check her out. She's got some good stories we're going to dig into with her. I've seen her on a few podcasts, and she didn't get a chance to finish some of the stories that we're going to dig into what happened after the fact of some of the things she was talking about. So definitely check out next week's show. And like I said, I would like to thank Joshua Robert Moore for our intro song. Go check him out at Earthcore Audio. He does an amazing job as well. And let's see. Have a great night, everybody, and we will see you next week. We're out of here.